is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Josh and I are doing a no-run-through review for the newest expansions of Cloudspire, the Uprising, and Horizon's Wrath. Let's actually do this
Label
right.
it correctly.
Yep, because you played the Uprising and I played Horizon's Wrath. So,
let's just be honest real quick. I'm bad at this.
No, so Cloudspire is an interesting game. We've done a discussion and a run-through for it, so you can definitely go check that out. But it has been a while since we had played this, and actually I've only played this game with you. And, I mean, it's so good.
It's... As soon as I got to a faction that I understood, yes, this game is very good.
And that, after playing their other game, Too Many Bones, that seems to be kind of their forte. They have a bunch of different factions with a lot, or heroes in Too Many Bones, that have a lot of rules to them. Like,
is this in the way?
No, I don't care. But there's a lot of like keywords, a lot of ways to play specific factions that it allows itself to play to a certain type of play style that
absolutely
it's not like other games where it's like, oh, here's the healer and here's a tank, and they're vaguely, they are unique, but you can kind of play any of them and be okay. Their games are not that way.
Oh, no.
If there is a type of like, oh, I don't like healers, and you're playing a healer, you're gonna have a bad time. And that's the same with Cloudspire. So the Uprising and Horizon's Wrath, which whenever they went back on Kickstarter to release these, I was actually kind of disappointed because it was only 2 factions.
It wasn't more. It wasn't like a big
box. It
box.
wasn't like, oh man, here's a shit ton of factions to play. But with, I get it with their with like how would they have to balance
this against all the already published factions
with all the different rules, the different fortress upgrades, as well as all the different units that have their own keywords and health, and it makes sense why there's only 2. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they plan on doing 1 more Kickstarter for this game, or maybe more. I can't remember. But then they also do the solo expansions as well. But you guys aren't here to have us talk about just general Cloudspire. You're here to hear us talk about the Horizon's Wrath and the Uprising. So let's go with mine first. We intentionally played these against one another, and it was very close. I think it came down to,
it was a 4 point
difference. Yep.
But the difference was mostly because of how cheap my upgrades are.
Yeah,
I think.
I actually think at the end, because the Uprising won, and
surprising.
I think the what I should have done, and I was debating on it in the 4th round, was actually moving my ship.
I think if you would have moved, you definitely would.
Because I would have had the range to be able to just start attacking you. But I think I forgot, So the Horizon's Wrath, the pirates, are so cool. Like,
they're very unique.
They are really neat. They're mainly about, because it's kind of hard to label these factions as kind of like, the Brahmin are definitely all defense.
Oh yeah, they're the turtle.
Yeah, but the pirates are kind of control. Like yes. Area control,
which fits the theme of pirates,
right? So because what they do is they spend source on cannonballs, and their ship has cannons that are unlimited range, but they all shoot through lanes. Their spires have range, direction. So it's like, it's going to be hard to run up on them because I can just bombard with cannonballs. But the thing is there's only a limited number that I can shoot. Like, I have a die that you start with. It starts at 0 and it goes up to 5. At the beginning of my turn, I can choose to shoot as many as I want, but you only roll 1 die for each cannonball. So it's like, if I have 5, I'm only rolling 5 dice, and I 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like, all right, and it hits the nearest unit, spire, or whatever in that range. So it's like, okay, so that would kill almost anything.
Yeah.
But I used 1 big attack to do so. And that would have been another thing, is if I had moved over, I could have shot at your...
yeah, I don't think I would have survived 5 whole cannonballs from you.
So that's really cool. They have, I mean, their 2 biggest things are the fact that they have cannons that they can shoot down lanes, and the other thing is they have what's called pulling the plank. So they actually have their own token that is the beginning of their gate. That's where their units spawn. They run down the plank. But another neat thing is if a unit wants to attack the faction or the fortress gate, they have to go on it, and at the end of your turn, you can yank it and kill all minions that are on it.
Which is overpowered in some aspects, but I only made it to your side once.
Right, but that one guy ended up being...
He was probably the main reason why I won.
He was actually...
He was
the reason why we didn't tie, yeah.
Because
you did 4 damage.
Dealt 4, and that was this point spread.
Yep. So, which actually, annoyingly enough, that only came because of an event.
Yeah.
So... that sucked. It seemed like all the events actually helped you.
Yeah, swung in my favor.
Yeah, fuck you, events. Yeah, that is kind of annoying.
And then I also had this relic that healed my gate 1 for each wave that ended, and I didn't take any damage.
Huh.
So I actually got up to 12 health before you attacked me.
Right. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So that's kind of their 2 biggest things. Their units are very weird because they're not super strong, but they rely on what's called their swabbies, and their swabbies do nothing. They basically are red shirts. They block for other units, but as soon as they die, they can upgrade a unit that they're with or an adjacent unit. And then you can pay source to bring them back. So that's pretty cool.
Say on the theme of pirates, like, it would make sense that crewmen would, like, for instance, protect the captain, and the captain would be, like, emboldened by the fact his men are dying. So.
Right. And it was actually kind of cool because some of their upgrades as well, I didn't buy it because it didn't seem like it was actually going to matter a whole lot, but they also have what's called contract fee. At the start of each market phase, you lose to source. And then they have their morale die, which is each time a cannon kills, a spire kills, or the fortress gate retaliation kills, then the morale goes up. And then the morale die can also go up to 5, and you can spend that to reduce your opponent's CP.
Which is good against me because my whole thing is about using CP.
Right. So it ended up being a really, really balanced fight, more so than the ones we've done in the past with like the Brahmin and the Airs, where it's like I don't see how the Brahmin ever win against them.
Because unless you're being super defensive,
yeah, which is kind of what they're about. But even then, yeah, it's kind of odd. So yeah, the Horizon's Wrath faction, the pirates, they are really, really cool. I enjoyed them quite a bit. So the Uprising.
The Uprising is very weird. I do like them. But they are weird. So I like yours. Yours can detach from the map. Mm-hmm. Mine starts off detached. Yeah. I'm like Cloudspire's in the sky. I'm on the main ground, and I use.
Oh, okay.
I
forgot about that. Yeah.
I use the mainland, and I have a rift, and I use this rift to go to waygates onto the Cloudspire.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I don't have one fortress gate. I can have up to 4 and deploy them around the map.
And I have to pick one that my minions go to.
So naturally, you would pick the closest one.
Yeah.
I never made more than one waygate because
he died.
The one way for me to build them was killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck with what I had. They are so weird because, mercenaries, I just hire a bunch of people. I get a whole extra step between prep and market, correct?
Yeah, no, between the market and... Yes, you're right. Yeah, between the market and the build phase.
Build phase. So I get a drafting phase where I get essentially 3 extra market steps.
Yeah.
And I get to buy stuff for free or replenish the store.
Mm-hmm.
That came in real handy.
Yeah, and they go into your barracks.
Yes, they go into my barracks, and then I have to use CP to deploy them.
Yep. So they are really cool because they are extremely versatile.
Yeah,
like none of my people have range. Oh, there's a bunch with range now, or armor, or retaliate, or a bunch of weird shit.
I felt like I was incredibly versatile. I never felt like, all right, I'm gonna die. Mm-hmm. I honestly felt like I could go toe to toe for a lot of stuff.
Right.
This faction feels incredibly balanced. For the most part, I think the real thing that got me was the events. Like, that is actually, I think, a negative we might have brought up with Cloudspire. If we didn't, it would kind of be a negative. For this, at the very least, no, it was a negative because the last time we played, like, the one in the center, you got it right away.
Yeah.
And it kept dealing damage to me.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, the events are kind of swingy in a game that's pretty tactical.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because it can foil whole turns of prepping.
Right. I don't mind the relics too much. I mean, it's either one or the other, because you got one relic that just naturally let you heal. Like, if I had gotten that one, like, you never got near me. I actually got closer to your gate before more than you got to me.
I think if you would have got this and I still got the event where I got the thing for free and upgraded it and whatnot, our deficit would have been 1 instead of 4.
Right.
So...
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
That's true. The other thing that they don't explain with that faction, because this faction's pretty clear-cut. It plays similar to the other ones.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of rules. The Uprising is definitely one of the more complex ones that come out. And I wish they would say on their cards a complexity rating, because I don't believe they do.
They don't.
And that's kind of annoying. In Too Many Bones, they're called gear locks. They have a difficulty meter.
That's
and
nice.
They are very true to the difficulty meter. But yeah, this one doesn't have it. And that one, we came across a situation where it's like, wait a minute, a wave ends once someone's faction minions,
and I only start with 2.
Yeah, and so they don't explain that. What are the faction minions of? Is it those 2?
Is it just those 2? Because if it is, then wave 2 would have immediately ended.
Yeah,
I did not recruit them.
Right, and unless there's a rule in there that says you have to recruit them,
and it does not specify.
Yeah, so we basically assume that every unit that you get.
I'm paying you. You work for me. That's
right.
how I.
So that's your faction. The mercenaries are your faction, but then at the same time, it's so random with what comes out. Like, yeah, you do have a draft phase to be able to replenish.
And I did discard the whole market 2 or 3 times.
Right. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, you have heroes that you can get from the mercenary, and you have headquarters that let you have more out. So it's like, okay, like the way that it ended, the way Wave 4 ended was I had 3 people left, and you had 1 hero out. But it's like, well, technically, I guess if you just never got actual minions, and you only had those heroes available, the wave automatically ends.
Which is odd, because the only time it says setup, it's in setup where I get the starting minions or whatever put in my barracks. But in the market, the extra market steps, it never says I have to do it until I have minions in the market.
Exactly, and it does it at the beginning to give you some options. But once those die, they go back to the market discard. They don't go back into your barracks.
Yeah.
So you always have different units.
These would have went back in there. But.
Yeah, and all the minions and stuff that you use. So I mean, it makes sense that everything that you draft goes into your barracks. So therefore, those are your faction minions. But the fact that it can be random, and I can't imagine they'd have it because the game's only 4 waves, where it's like, oh, I can't deploy any minions, so I guess the wave's over. That doesn't seem right. And so then the only way I could think we'd fix that was that we go until all your units are dead.
Yes.
Technically you don't have heroes. All of them are your faction minions, but that would be weird as well.
Because at that point, I don't have to move my hero. I can just camp him on my gate, and then as soon as he dies, the round's over.
Right.
So you can never deal damage to my gate.
Yeah, so I don't know if... and I tried looking it up on Board Game Geek to see if there was anything buy them. Like maybe there's an FAQ or something. But I don't think they thought the Uprising through as much in terms of just basic game mechanics.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I definitely felt, especially towards the end, I was like, this is going heavily in my favor.
Right.
Because
I mean, also your upgrades are cheaper. Like my cheapest are 3. And, I mean, not only do I have to... I mean, I can get my cannons out and stuff, and then they stay there. But then not only I have to pay source for cannons, and then you're just like, oh, okay, all my minions now have hunter. They all have range. They all have, I could have 3 heroes out.
Yeah, I could have 3 heroes out. I could... Oh, the other thing that's weird about... I can kill my own units.
You can kill your own units, so...
I gain the source from them...
because nothing changes about the game. Like these came in separate faction expansions, they only came with the rules to them, which is hey, here's their sheet, and here's they came with like an upgraded
it seems like an updated
like a glossary for all the landmark and market towns, which is
very nice.
Very nice. Yeah, instead of having like 9 fucking things, you just have the one. So yeah, I think the Uprising,
mine definitely didn't feel as balanced as yours.
Yeah. Because, you're right. If it's kind of like, they're going to attack our gate, we only have 1 minion left, let's just kill them off. Okay, round's over. It's almost like, well, what's the point in playing against you then?
Exactly.
I can't advance. Like, imagine if I didn't even have a ship that could move, like, I could just dock over by you. Imagine if I was the Brahmin with the fucking giants that I roll a die to see if they move or attack.
I feel
and it's like, well, I'm fucking slow. There's no way I'm getting near you. Oh, okay, we'll just kill our minions. All right, wave's over.
I really feel like the 2 ways that they can balance this out better, which at this point they would have to, like, reprint at least Netorut.
Netorut?
Yeah, that guy. He would have to have the build bypass on his non-upgraded side.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
That's your faction sheet.
Yep.
While you're talking.
And be... forced to build gates. Like, I feel like I have to be forced to build gates, because I didn't have to. It says I may have up to 4. I don't have to have all 4 of them.
Right.
That would be the easiest way to balance it out. Would be, hey, you have to build gates. Otherwise, I literally can bottleneck the game in my favor.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of, that would work too, is you have to build way gates. But if they didn't want to do that, then the other thing that would have made, that would have probably balanced them out is the fact that you go until you have no units left.
Or that, yeah.
Because, but even then, yeah, you just stack a hero on there. It's like, if they were like, you have a literal thing that says you can have up to 3 heroes in play. So it's like, okay, so they do acknowledge that this faction has heroes.
But I can hire them.
Because that would be interesting if it was kind of like you don't have hero. They're not considered heroes; they're all considered minions. So you can't just puppy guard. Like you would have to move him out in that particular.
That would be
example.
an errata too. That would work. It'd just be like all of your factions have to move.
Yeah,
they have to progress in some way. Because like Phoenix here did not have to move. I kept him there to guard off your hero, and then my tower killed your hero, and I just played the waiting game until you had to kill mine.
Right. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Waygate, unstable, so as a limited build option, you actually could have just flipped it and blown the gate up. Let's see. Waygates. Your fortress is detached from the island. You start with 1 waygate and can have 4. They are put into play using build of Netorut. Since your opponents cannot access your fortress, severing the connection is your opponent's objectives. They do this by attacking your waygates. Okay, waygates count as fortress gate. It represents your connection. Your waygates function as fortress gates and should be treated as fortress gates. If your fortress gate health is reduced to 0, your connection is lost. If the game does not end, turn all waygates in play to their destroyed side. So yeah, if it was like normal 0, I'm technically not out. I just spend upgrades to bring it at least back up to 3 unless the game's over. When an opponent declares their Uprising as their mark, if a marked waygate is destroyed, factions with that waygate as their mark must immediately choose a different mark. Destroyed waygates are not treated as fortress gates. Yeah, so
The only way I can think of fixing it would be to make me build them and then force my forces to move.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, you just well, I'm only ever going to build one, and I'm just going to place a mercenary on it and place a hero. He doesn't have to move. All right, you killed all my regular mercs. I only had one. All right, wave's over.
And
I spend all the source that I get to, because one of your sources is you just gain source. Oh no, that was command points.
Yeah, one of my headquarter upgrades. My first one is I gain 2 CP during each prep phase. So even the very first phase of buying, I bought the headquarter upgrade. So I started with 7 in the first wave.
Right.
And then also map placement helped a lot. I started with I could put my away gate anywhere near the road.
Yeah.
So I placed it opposite of 2 wells.
Right.
And just this definitely feels not as
fleshed out as this one. Yeah.
That has a lot of thought and preparation against the other factions, and that probably does the best against this.
Yeah.
The Brahmin, I don't see the Brahmin ever winning against this.
Right.
The Grove Tenders, I don't really see winning.
Grove Tenders were interesting. The Airs, maybe, just because they're so quick.
Yeah, aggressive
nature. They'd be able to cross the distance to get to them.
And then, what is it?
Because then you'd be limited on air defense or flying with depending on what mercenaries come out.
Because my 2 faction minions that come to me base, both sides have air defense, and then only one side of my spires has air defense. So.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of interesting because I didn't even recognize kind of the issues. I mean, once the game was over, I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty close, and I was like, wait a minute, all those events kind of helped you. Well, that's a little annoying. That's just okay. Whatever, it's random. It could have easily gone my way. Sure, we'll ignore that.
That's a randomness.
We'll ignore the relics.
But then as we pick it apart,
as faction to faction, because this one I can only move my ship once a game.
Yeah, once a game,
and I lose all source. So if I don't spend it at the beginning, let's say
you're punished for it.
I held 15 source. I don't know why you would. You never would do that. But let's just say I was trying to hold some. Or I gained some throughout the fight, then it's like, oh, okay, I have 5. All right, well, I'm gonna pull the plank and fly out. Okay, well, I go down to 0. I can move it anywhere.
Say I could have even picked my mat up and moved it over.
Yeah, and I could and then just start bombarding, which I guess I should. But the fact of the matter comes down to we don't know where your faction minions are technically. It doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
And if you now you have a hero on your fortress gate, which, as everyone knows from the rules, if you have minions or anything on your gate, they're protected. So I think the Uprising is busted in a way that makes them technically unbeatable.
And definitely in a way. Now that we're picking it apart, it definitely feels less balanced than I initially had said.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they were trying to counteract it by the randomness of the market, but you have so much control over it, and the fact that you have ways to get extra command points. Very few factions have ways to mitigate you getting command points. I mean, I know there's some events that can knock it down. The morale knocks it down. But I have to specifically kill with my ship.
Yes.
Or get Captain Tinbeard, who has the morale side. Every time he kills a unit, then we gain a morale.
Bolsters morale.
Yeah, but honestly, he's seven command points that usually you're not bringing them in until wave 3.
3 or later.
3 at the earliest, and that's the only thing you're bringing in. Or 4. So it's like, well, morale's kind of useless. I can't do it. And that's upsetting because the Uprising is
bad.
They're cool. They're so cool in theory.
They are. They are very interesting. Like the killing your own units, the multiple deployment gates. All that is really unique and cool. But the low costing upgrades. The amount of things where I can sabotage you, is a bit much.
Yeah, that would all be fine. The other way I can see it balanced is there's 2 ways I can fix that faction. either you have heroes, they're heroes, but they don't count they still count as faction minions.
Yeah, they count as minions.
So basically, to end a wave against you specifically would be all your units get destroyed because you're just going to cycle them out anyway. If the market discard goes away, you shuffle them and you get them back.
Yep.
Then that's one way, and the other way is attacks against your faction, like a gates, bypass minions. So
Yeah,
it's like in this
agree.
particular instance, if I'm here and I shoot it, it doesn't hit your minion; it goes straight to your gate.
Which, when you think about it, would make sense. A gate would be huge,
Right.
So like you would be able to shoot it.
Right. So that's the two ways you can keep literally everything else. That faction can be played exactly how it was played, but to play against them, those would be the two things that I think would fix it. Because I mean, I think you can't do one or the other. Like you have to do kind of both those rules. Otherwise, yeah. Oh, okay. Like, well, actually, really, just attacks against your gate bypass it. But then again, I'm just gonna kill my one low level minion and just end the wave anyway. It's like, okay. So yeah, I guess both of those would have to be in play.
Yeah, because there were several times, like I have, I think both my minions only have, well, this has 3 and the other side has 2.
Yeah.
So, like, Phoenix,
And how much are those?
bang, 2 CP apiece. And then the flip sides are 3.
Yeah. I mean, and it sucks because I was like, okay, or make another rule that says you have to recruit your own faction minions.
That too.
But I don't want to sit here and tell them how they should have made their fucking faction.
Yeah, because, like, it's not your job to do that.
Right. It's like, you only released 2 factions in a Kickstarter campaign, and you failed on one of them.
So 50% of it is bad.
Right. So it's like, okay, well, that's kind of annoying because these should all be integrated together as a...
Granted,
like, I want to take Horizon's Wrath and fight against the Brahmin, and it should be balanced. I want to take the Uprising.
It probably would be.
It probably would, but what I'm saying, I mean, because I remember the Brahmin, they have like those cannons, like that laser beam, like that charges up.
Yes, yeah.
Or I want to take the Uprising and fight against the heirs, and it should be balanced. I want to take whatever factions that you want to fight against each other. They should be balanced because they only have like 7. They have these 2 and then the 5. They have the Grove Tenders, heirs, Brahmin, the Greege, and then the Navi or whatever.
Right.
They were like the source. Like they're made from source.
It.
Yeah. So you have those 5 in the base game and with 1 Greege expansion, and then these 2. So it's not like we're sitting here and there's 30 factions and we're like, well, sure, obviously not. They're not all going to be balanced.
Eventually, you're going to come into one that's like, obviously, you guys just like, all right, we're going to make a faction that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
7 factions in, all of them should be fairly balanced.
Yeah.
And, now that we've picked this apart,
unless we are missing an extremely crucial rule to them, then yeah, they are pretty
because the wording on this
pretty poopy.
Yeah, the wording in this doesn't make it to where I have to deploy gates. It doesn't make it to where I have to move.
And you and I know for a fact through Magic, playing Magic, the text, and they always say that, oh, if a card or ability says this, it overrides the rulebook. So whenever your hero says may, you may build a gate, it means exactly that.
Yeah. Say, Magic, especially, the wording is key. And if the wording is messed up, then that's not on me as interpretation of the rule. It is how you printed the rule.
Yeah. So I mean, but, well, yeah, because I just looked up Campfire Mode. At the end of a turn in which only one faction has units in play, that faction's heroes go into Campfire Mode for the remainder of the wave and are inactive. They do not take turns and cannot be interacted with in any way. That faction's minions continue to act as normal until they are defeated. Yeah, so basically what we're saying. Like, has units in play, and then so technically he would go into hero mode. Or into Campfire Mode.
So I would just wait.
Yeah. But then once again, that still doesn't help. Okay, I kill him. All right, yep, ends the round. So.
Because I may move him.
Right. All right. Well, that sucks. So, I mean, unless there's an FAQ or an errata, which
Please share it.
Right.
If there is one.
Share it, but also that doesn't give Cloudspire. That doesn't give Chip Theory a pass.
No,
you had 2 factions
not.
to make in a year or longer. I don't remember how long the Kickstarter was actually out, and you failed on one. So, great. Yeah. So
it always feels bad ending a review after like really enjoying the game, to really comprehend what happened, and it's bad.
Right. Because I can forgive the events or the relics or whatever.
Because
they weren't that big of a deal. Some of my relics came in handy. Like, I think I had one, that took an equipment, and then another one that, I don't remember exactly what it gave. And then you had that ongoing one. And you had the Crown of Control that you played really well because you waited till I had 0 source. It's like, okay, that's fine.
But then quickly realized, oh, he's only got 1 hero.
Right, and then you killed him.
and then I killed him immediately.
Right.
I was so sure you're going to play another
But then
hero.
actually that kind of worked with the event that came in where you spent 3 CP to upgrade him and gave him range.
That's true.
So then it did work out. But even then, it's just like, all right, I can't really kill you, so I guess each wave is over. So lame. If we're wrong, please let us know. I don't want to be wrong about that faction. I want them to be like, oh, actually, you missed this, or here's an FAQ from them, or here's an errata they meant to put in, whatever. Then I'll be like, great, okay. Because the Horizon's Wrath,
the pirates were really cool.
Seem extremely balanced. I get that. Okay, I can upgrade the pull to plank, so I can do that as many times, but I can relocate once. Because if I could relocate every time, it's just like, oh, your minions are moving over here. Okay, I guess I'll move all the way. Like, that would be broken. So I get the moving once. But yeah, and then pulling the plank. Oh, okay, they're all up on me. Boop.
Get the fuck out of here.
Kill them all, and I gain the rewards for it. So that they're all balanced. Their cannons having unlimited range, but they still have the line.
Direct line. That's really balanced. I still roll a
die. I have ways to get my spires and move them. Hell, even the Shadow Skiff has Run Silent that lets them run out. Or even what I didn't use, what I wanted to, Lifeboat, which is basically if a minion moves onto it, they go back to the fortress fully healed.
That's nice. So I like that. That feels really balanced. I really like that your turrets were in one direction, plus with your cannons being only one direction, so you can really set up like a killing field if you wanted to.
Right. That's kind of what I was going to do with my 2 sources here. I had the one. I meant to buy another one and have 2, so it crossed paths. So if you're going to come up, then they're just going to shoot at you, and then I'll just bombard my cannons down, so no one's going to get to it. They make every faction have ways to defend your gates, otherwise there'd be no fucking point.
No joke.
But to be completely impenetrable,
what's the point?
It's like, all right, you win. Like you're gonna get 90 source, so just get all your upgrades and win. So, well, other than that, Cloudspire is still fucking great. Like mainly I really really like it for its solo. Like, it's an actual story of each faction. That's where all the lore of the game is.
You've explained that to me, and it seems really interesting.
Yeah, so... Alright, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the Uprising?
The Uprising, playing it feels unfair, because I had a lot of fun playing as them, but now looking back at it critically...
It almost sucks, too, because, whenever... We've played this game, I think, 3 or 4 times before we did the run-through.
Yes.
Because you were playing as the Brought and it just was not clicking.
Wasn't clicking in my tiny brain.
And then we did the Grove Tenders, which we did for the run-through, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I think I played the Heirs each time. No, I played the Brahmin against the Grove Tenders.
You swapped me, and you really like the Brahmin.
Right, because I turtle in games like, in war games. But, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of shitty because unfortunately you've lost in each of those games.
This is the first
one. And the one time
won.
you win, and it almost feels
hollow.
It's like tainted or hollow.
It's a hollow victory,
and it's like that shouldn't be it because you played extremely well. And I'm just like, yeah, and it was close, 4-point difference still, but it's like, that's kind of weird. So
my opinion of Cloudspire hasn't changed. I don't think. I can't remember for the life of me what I gave it in our initial run-through. I think I gave it an 8.
I think 7 or 8. I remember you saying you don't like MOBAs anyway.
I don't care for MOBAs. but when I finally got a faction, I actually like understood.
Yeah.
I was like, this game is good.
Right.
I'm gonna give this a 5.
Okay.
Because it's average. I would give it lower because of the wording problems. I would say it deserves a 4 based off of the wording problems. 5 seems average other than that, because, like, other than the 2 big issues with it, it's fairly balanced other than them 2, and that makes it heavily unbalanced. So I don't want to give it a 4, make it below average. It's average.
Okay. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I'll give it a 5. I feel like we're missing something.
I really do too.
And
like,
if we are, and that's
I'm
on
just
them,
gonna feel stupid.
Well, that's fine. I mean, then it's like, great, okay,
We'll try it again.
It's in the comments, and now it's fixed. And then, I mean, if we're like drastically wrong about them, I'll just delete this video and then redo a review. But as of right now, it's just like based off everything that they provide. It's like, okay. No, actually, I think I am going to give them a 4 because
for
the Uprising specifically, yes, because they went on Kickstarter for 2 factions and fucked up one of them.
50% of it is a failure.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, because everything else about them specifically is fine. So that's the Uprising. Horizon's Wrath.
I really like your faction. I really almost wish that we played.
I thought you were gonna pick pirates. That's why I actually specifically I was like, what the fuck is the Uprising? So I looked them up and I was like, all right, I guess they're mercenaries. Because I was telling you, do you want to play pirates or do you want to play mercenaries? And I'm like, well, pirates obviously sound cooler, and you picked mercs, so I was like, okay.
I picked mercs more because, like, us being in D&D right now, I'm reading a lot into, like, mercenary factions and stuff.
Gotcha.
And pirates have always been cool. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll do mercs.
Gotcha.
Horizon's Wrath, though, I really like your faction. The like hive mind mentality of a pirate, like getting a fleet of ships to like outflank your enemies.
Yeah. Having swabbies that work together to make your other units better.
It's just it's fun. It's flavorful. Meets theme. It's very nice. I would definitely say that is a well-crafted faction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Out of both of these, this feels unique to the world as well as because you're right, Cloudspire, it is in the sky and that's where all it is, and it's like, hey, okay, cool, yeah, there would be flying ships and pirates, kind of like I feel like there's some movies that have
Treasure Planet,
yeah, stuff like that, and they feel like they go in the game.
They definitely feel like they fit in.
Right. I can take this and fight all the other units and it'll be balanced.
Yeah.
Even with the theming of the Uprising, it's kind of like, okay, they're on the ground. Maybe they're revolting against the people because they're living it up with all the magic in the sky. I don't fucking know.
Because it's not explained on here. They're all about swaying the market in their favor, buying people out. It's like, it's a rebellion of mercenaries. Why would a mercenary want to rebel? They go to whoever pays the most.
Right.
So, like, it changes. Like, the pirates could easily pay for...
I guess they're not necessarily mercenaries. I mean, they're hiring mercs, but I guess it is the Uprising, so you would be rebels.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Horizon's Wrath feels like they put all their effort into making this one work, and then they're like, these guys can buy market stuff. Okay, we'll do that.
And they have heavy influence on it.
Horizon's Wrath gets a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. 9 out of 10. It is a fantastic expansion to this game.
So, that's our thoughts on the Horizon's Wrath and the Uprising faction expansions to Cloudspire. Let us know what you think of them in the comments below. Let us know if we're wrong about the Uprising, if we're missing some very crucial rule that completely fixes them.
Please, like, I want to like this.
Yeah. I mean, let's say we are missing something with the Uprising. Let's say you whatever rules ideas that we came up with, let's say that's legit. What would you give them?
I'd probably give this an 8.
An 8. That's where I'm at too. If they worked, they'd be an 8. I still think these guys are way cooler.
They are way.
I don't
cooler.
mind like rebellions or things like that, like the Woodland Alliance and Root.
Are
that.
They're so good.
They're so good. So I mean, you can make rebels and mercs and kind of that disbanded group of different talents really, really cool. And even if it is a theme thing of like, oh, we're left down here on the shithole ground where you guys live with the magic and stuff up in the air.
Where it would make more sense.
Yeah, we're going to send someone up, build gates so we can come up and attack. That's cool, too.
Yeah. Like, flavoring and whatnot, that's
but
there.
They essentially made it where it's like, oh, we don't know how to attack the ground.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know.
So, yeah, I'd give them an 8 still, because they're really
Which
really,
is
really
crazy. Cool. If 2 simple fixes doubles this score,
right?
We have to be doing it wrong somewhere.
Maybe.
I hope.
Let us know about that as well in the comments. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.